Storytelling Podcast, episode number 5.
Welcome to the Self-Publishing Podcast.
If you want my goodness, right, I'm so terribly sorry about that. I got massively confused about what we were doing here. Let me just.
I've defected.
Welcome to the Storytelling Podcast, where everything's fictional, even you. And now, here are your hosts, 3 people who don't know the meaning of spoiler alert: Garrett, Zach, and Cristal.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Storytelling Podcast, the podcast that's all about fiction, and more fiction, and telling the best truths through the medium of lies. I'm your host, Garrett Robinson, author of Hit Girls and Non-Zombie, and with me tonight, as per usual, are Z.C. Bolger, author of Danny Calloway and the Puzzle House, and Cristal Logothetis, author of Via Roselle. So, Cristal, is this what happens when you're on your period?
Yes. And I get really horny.
Okay, so this is a special treat for anybody who is a longtime listener to this podcast, because you are probably a longtime listener to another podcast known as the Storytelling Podcast. And
no, that's
with
us.
Tonight, yeah. With us tonight, in actuality, is David Wright, who is not only host of the Self-Publishing Podcast, but also the author of, let me see, Yesterday is Gone, Available Darkness, WhiteSpace, the cereal box, but that's another thing.
For Nevermore?
For Nevermore, yeah, that's
Charlie
right.
Wakes Up, or
Z2134?
Yeah, Dark Crossings. Sorry?
Z2134?
Z2134 and Monstrous. Yes, but the only one of those you should really read is probably WhiteSpace, and maybe, no. No, David is a independent author. He has been writing on Amazon with his partner, Sean Platt, for what, like 2 years now? 3 years?
2011, yeah. My life partner, nice. Sean Platt.
Yeah.
Hey, don't judge, all right? Our love is pure.
The manliest platonic relationship in the history of...
It's not that manly.
No, it's
not that platonic.
Actually, Dave, I'm very glad you're here, because I'm literally feeling like death. I'm so fucking ill today, and so like I don't even want to laugh, and you're another person with a really weird laugh, so it's like you can just kind of be here and cover up for me today.
Usually when people are sick, the last person they want to see is me, because I'm like all grim and bearer of bad news. Let's talk about what your sickness might be. What kind of cancer?
Yeah, Garrett, it could be emphysema. No, but no. Cristal actually couldn't make it today. In case anybody actually cares about the real hosts of this show,
her brakes went out in her car.
Yeah. Yeah. A police investigation revealed that they were cut, and
David just got back from Los Angeles.
Coincidence, all coincidence.
No, Cristal is actually traveling right now, and we were sort of nervous about the show anyway, because she was going to, she was going to try to do it from like hotel Wi-Fi, and we were kind of like, okay, let's see how this goes.
It'd be like a trashy motel with a vibrating bed.
Right. Shitty Wi-Fi, and her husband was going to be right there, and so basically I was just like, I'm not going to lie, there was a tiny little part of me that when she texted me and said, like, it's not going to be for another hour, I think you guys should just go without me. Tiny little part of me was like, yeah, right.
Yeah, we should. Talking about Dave, being depressed and everything, I actually found a comment, not a comment, but a review by him on Hit Girls that I thought that we should share with everybody. And I'm hoping it's not going to like ruin his reputation or anything. But I thought yeah, I'll read it for you.
Because I track my reviews pretty. Okay.
Oh no,
go ahead.
No, it's
there. All right. If you say it's there, I believe you.
Yeah. He says Hit Girls. What can I say? Well, this is obviously not my type of book. I'm more of a bright soul and prefer a cheerier selection of literature. Birds and Butterflies is what I enjoy. I feel there's too much cursing and not enough off-the-cuff writing. Maybe a little less research next time. You may make it more cheery by having the Gunsmoke be pink and possibly throw in a unicorn or two. Anyway, I'm off to bake cookies, feed the homeless, and not wallow in self-loathing. Farewell and God bless, David W. Wright.
I think that was Sean Platt.
It sounds like Sean Platt, who accidentally signed as you, since you're basically the same person.
You know, I've been watching your podcast for, what, 4 episodes now?
Well, maximum.
There are only 4 episodes.
Plus the early ones where, you know, you were doing all the nudity and racist stuff. But I just have to ask.
Everybody immediately goes to the YouTube channel. It's like, earliest video, bye.
And then they realize Cristal's not in those and like, fuck.
Zach, why are you in front of restrooms?
That's a good question.
It's so bizarre.
That's a good question. No, I'm in
You're
an
like
office right
stalking
now.
People?
I am. I'm in
An office with a window right on the restrooms.
Yep.
Wow, that's a prime office spot.
Hey, well, there's windows all around.
You're in a
happen to be
prison
facing
cell,
this
aren't
way.
you?
I am.
You're
That's
wearing a
his
jumpsuit.
isolation booth. He's in the hole. He just off the guard. Oh boy, we're gonna just be rife with that shit tonight.
Cristal's gonna not want to come back.
Yeah, exactly.
What have you done to this show?
You guys should just do it without me. I don't know why she's like really
That's
Mexican right
yeah,
now.
seriously.
Why did all of our iTunes subscribers drop off?
Right. Oh shit! I forgot to check subscribers this week because I feel.
Oh, don't worry about it.
You
No,
should
no, it's
check.
happening. It's happening.
He wants to chart this.
Yeah, no, it's happening. So where was I going to go with? Oh, Dave. So, Dave, what did you publish this week?
What did I publish? Oh, Available Darkness season finale, episode 12.
Oh, the finale came out. Oh shit, that's awesome. I read that series. This new season. It's pretty fucking awesome. Seriously, if you are listening to this and you never have heard of David W. Wright, which is pretty much impossible because
Yeah, seriously.
He's that
no,
fat.
you should, yeah. Come on, you've all
Surprised
seen the
I don't
Bigfoot
take
videos.
up 2 squares on the Google Hangout.
Right. We've given you another feed for this guy. That's awesome. Well, I came out with Hit Girls episode 2 this week, and the release is going interestingly. Oh, holy shit! 55 subscribers. Or as Johnny would tell me, you can't trust Feedburner, man. Subscribers don't matter.
They lie, man. It's part of the government conspiracy.
Look at my washboard abs. He always says all of these things.
Oh, you know what I realized when I was listening to last week's, I felt so out of it last week, and the reviews that I was telling about my book that I got from the Amazon thing, it sounded like so horrible when I listened back to it. Like, wow, my book really sucks. They weren't that bad.
What was funny was that I was like, so how are the reviews? And you were like, and
Yeah.
I was like, wow, they must be pretty terrible.
They weren't bad at all, honestly. I was
Okay,
so
good.
out of it last week for some reason. I have no idea why.
Me too. Like that was probably my least favorite episode listening back. I don't know what it was, but I was in the wrong headspace. I think it's the 8 o'clock time, which is why Dave is so cheery right now. Like we were sort of like, and Dave's like, let's fucking do this.
I don't know about you, dude. I woke up at 1:30 in the afternoon today.
Well, I woke up about a half an hour ago because I came home and collapsed into my bed and like took 100,000 vitamin C. So if I explosively shit myself on this episode, that's why.
Explosively
Awesome.
shit himself.
I woke
Molly
up at
said hi.
6.
Danny explosively shit himself.
You woke up at what, Dave?
6:30 p.m. today.
Oh God.
Shit.
So Available Darkness, like I said in last episode, is an autobiography.
Yes. I was up last night trying to finish the last episode of Rough Draft for WhiteSpace, season finale for 2. And I did not finish. I have to finish it tonight when I'm done with you guys and have it
Yeah,
to
I
show
checked
tomorrow.
I checked the Scrivener file and saw that it wasn't finished.
I am curious what you'll think. So.
And I've actually been meaning to answer your email today asking what my predictions were for the new season, but I just didn't.
Well, you're dealing with explosive diarrhea. So.
Yeah, exactly. No, it definitely has not been the best day.
Is the show always this off topic?
Yeah.
You guys really, you're taking after Better Off Undead.
Right. I don't know why everybody says that we're ripping off SPP. We're really ripping off BOU. No, we just run into the same thing that you guys always run into, where we have to vamp for like 15 minutes because we don't have enough to say about anything to talk for a full hour.
Basically, Garrett likes the sound of his own voice.
I totally do. Very narcissistic. I listen to our episodes way more than I listen to your guys' episodes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, Garrett, don't you edit out Cristal and myself and you just listen to yourself back to back?
Yeah.
While masturbating.
While masturbating.
Rubbing one out. So what I was going to say earlier before we did get off topic was Hit Girls has been interesting because I'm doing this whole thing that David and Zach already know about, but in case you're not them and you're listening to this, where I put the whole season out at once for $5, and then I have been releasing the episodes one per week, and on the weekend that they come out, they're going free. David and Sean tried it with their series, Available Darkness Season 2, and their results were, like, you weren't satisfied. Yeah.
Really?
The results were shit. Not
results of the season sales of the episode, because basically we said, hey, why buy it? We're going to give it to you free. So
right. So you may have cannibalized your own sales just a little bit. Which
well, we did all right on the season sales. It's just episode sales are free because they're free and they're small books. They're not getting picked up by Pixel Ink or anything else like that. So they're not rising to the top of the free chart. So they're doing nothing for us publicity wise. The only people who are reading are the people that were going to read it anyway, probably.
Yeah. Would have bought the season anyway, and yeah.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing. But you have a different. I'm still willing to give this a chance, and my strategy is a little bit different than yours. I mean, I told you guys about it in an email, but I'm doing the whole season, all 6 episodes. Then I'm doing the thing of raising the price of all of them to $3, as per usual, because you just don't want to sell books for 99 cents forever. And then I'm doing another free run, and by that time I'll have some reviews on the individual episodes. I will have. They'll be a reduced price from 3 to 0 instead of 99 cents to 0, and then hopefully I'll have my also bots filled in and all that sort of thing. So I actually think that the second run is probably going to be, I don't know, we'll see.
That is a better strategy than the one we did. So I don't know why we chose 5 days. It was like a spur of the moment thing because we'd never done it. So we said, hey, what the hell, we'll try it, and we did, and it didn't work. So
yeah. I mean, anytime you do a 5-day promotion, it's like day 1, day 2, everything else.
Yeah, so some people, like I think even Guy Kawasaki had suggested, use all 5 days at once, and I'm like, no, I don't think so. I could be wrong on that, but I've seen a lot of people that do suggest 5 days, and I don't think it's the right tactic. Maybe for some books it is, but not for
right. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, well, if it's working for you, then great, but it's definitely not working for us. So what'd you publish this week, Zach?
I didn't publish anything, actually, but my book does go to the printer next week for hardcover paperback, and my ebook should be getting up, and then I'm going to be starting my audiobook pretty soon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Totally awesome.
When's the next Kickstarter?
I'll let you know. You'll be my first backer.
Yeah,
no, I mean, I stretched out my Kickstarter pretty well. I've gotten to pay Garrett for his editing time. I mean, it's not as much as I want to pay him, but that's good. And I haven't even paid it all to him yet.
I was going to say,
coming.
Wait a minute. Is that like a subtle attempt to establish that the payment is complete?
No.
I honestly don't give a shit because, like Zach was like, so I'm going to pay you for the editing. And I was just sort of like, I'm just doing it to help you out. But okay, sure. Money? All right.
He's going to do a second Kickstarter. Help me pay Garrett. I blew the money on strippers and Coke.
Well, he is in my.
Which is how you do all young adult book launches, by the way, strippers and Coke.
That's right.
Exactly.
Cristal owes me for editing her first story, too, which is also not published. I had this thought today where I was just sort of like, okay, so we're the storytelling podcast and we're writers. And I always say, well, but I'm more of a film guy, and like that's like my real thing. And I like after I do this, I'm going to work on a film mix, and then I'm going to be editing another film all this weekend in addition to writing and everything. So I'm like, but I'm really more of a film guy. But at the same time, I've published several books.
See, I'm more of a writer, but I have made 5 movies since we started this. So
right. So it's like, what the hell with you making movies despite being more of a writer and not having published any books, and me not having finished any of my. It's bizarre. Yeah, but the movies you made were for your Kickstarter.
No, my movies.
They were snuff films.
They're getting picked up by Paramount and all of them. 5 features. So, but whatever. That's not what we're talking about. So it doesn't. That's why I brought it up.
He's so
right.
humble.
That's no big deal. All right. So the topic for the night is terrible stories and what makes them terrible. And hopefully, if you are listening and you are a writer or a director or both, you can use what we say to help avoid making stories like these. But we actually really wanted to do this topic because David was going to be here. Like, we were so excited when we realized that was going to happen. Because we just want to say...
What does that mean?
Because we just want to say, like, pick the worst, the most terrible movie and just be like, say the title, and then just sort of like lean back, mute the microphone, and just let Dave roll for half an hour.
Exactly.
My reputation precedes me. Now I'm going to disappoint you. Usually I bail on terrible movies, so I can't even talk about them. So this will be fun.
Yeah, honestly, I have a couple that it's just like, oh, this movie. Oh, why was it terrible? Because it sucked.
Wow, so you didn't do any analysis or like trying?
Oh no, I have a shit ton of listed here.
His director's commentary on the DVD is like 2 minutes.
Yeah. So this part
sucked. Bye.
This sucked. I was not happy with this. This came out okay. This sucked.
This scene also sucked.
Well, I'll go ahead and start. The first thing that will make your story terrible, even if you have a good story idea, is technical problems. That sounds very broad, but it is. If you're a writer and you put out a book and there's spelling and grammar errors everywhere, and the point of view flits back and forth from different characters in the same paragraph, and like dialogue from multiple people in different paragraphs, and you print it in Comic Sans font, and it's just like,
You should be shot if you do that.
Right, exactly. And it doesn't matter if you have the best goddamn story idea in the world. If it's technically too flawed, nobody will care. They can't get past it. Same thing goes for movies. It's like, I'm not saying Birdemic would have been good if it had been well edited and well shot, but, the story was still pretty terrible. But it would have been better, except then it would have been worse because that was what was mostly funny about it.
Yeah, then it would never rise to the cult status that it has.
Yeah, and there would never be a sequel, which is coming out soon, and
I never saw Birdemic because I watched the trailer and I was like, fuck that.
You actually have to watch it. You really do. It's one of those things.
I could barely get through the trailer. Like, literally, I was holding myself back from not watching the whole thing, and it's like, what, a minute and a half?
Yeah.
You have to watch it with somebody, though. That's what makes it fun.
I have nobody to watch it with. I live in Miami.
What are you saying? People in Miami don't understand Birdemic?
Yeah, I actually don't think
English.
Morgan. I don't think Morgan
there's a racism I come to love from this show.
Oh, David.
Birdemic's not playing in Miami, huh?
Well, no, I just...
Poyodemic?
That took me a second. No, but Birdemic was technically flawed all over the place. Now, that worked for them, and it's the same thing, with like 50 Shades of Grey. We were talking about this, and you guys were talking about this on the Self-Publishing Podcast a long time ago. It's like, it's very technically flawed, but it's 50 Shades of Grey. That writer never has to do anything again in their life. But you can't start out trying to make a terrible book and hoping for that 1 in a million shot where people are like, it's so terrible, it's awesome. Like,
right.
It doesn't work when you do that. Unless you do something campy like the Scary Movie movies, but it's like nobody's making, like $10 million off of those. It's like it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And technically, those are actually pretty good. They just take a ridiculous premise and roll with it. So
And they cast the Wayans brothers and family and
yeah.
Oh God, White Chicks. Horrible movie. I didn't get through that movie. But I mean, Garrett's your point is kind of covers everything.
No, not really.
Show's over.
Yeah, bye.
All right, we're done.
I've noticed on POVs though, when a lot of people
POV
show me
porn?
their writing, a lot of new writers show me their stuff. Wow, that sounded wrong.
I know I did.
One of the most glaring mistakes I see, and it just bothers me, is the switching POVs, like with not even intentionally, and even switching tenses within the same. That's something you really got to get a handle on that, because if you don't recognize that in your own work, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah. I definitely had a couple of those that Garrett caught for me.
No, Zach.
Yeah.
Come on now.
No. But seriously, like there's a couple times where, I mean, Garrett's a lot more technical than I am, because I didn't give a shit when I was in school, so I didn't want to learn any of that crap. But it wasn't to the point where it was like, he walked, something crazy. It wasn't anything crazy, but I feel like they're more subtle than that. But I totally understand what you're saying, because once Garrett pointed them out to me, I was like, and then I started finding them myself and be like, wait, Garrett, is this correct? Right? He's like, no, that's not right. Like, okay, good. So, I started learning from that as well. So that's good.
And one thing,
go ahead.
One thing I see is a lot of times, and even Sean will do this from time to time. He'll be writing a scene where the POV chapter, the way we write the POV chapter, you know what one person's thinking, but you don't know what the other person's thinking. But sometimes he'll write something where the other person's thoughts are somehow known to the first person, and it's impossible. You really have to be in the headspace of the point of view that you're writing in.
Right, that was a much more subtle thing that happened in your book, Zach.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I left.
And that's an easy mistake.
2 of those.
Right.
I actually left in 2 of those because I brought them to Garrett's attention, and Garrett's like, "Yes, it's technically incorrect, but it works and it flows correctly."
Yeah, I think it was like a little thing where like Molly like considered what she was going to say for a second, and then like kept talking. Where
it's almost like an assumption by your main character, your main POV.
Yeah, you can do that and say like, she seemed like she knew what she was talking about or something. Right. You can acknowledge it, that the person is, making this assumption, but you can't have them know it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Zach and I are working on this new serial project, which, dude, Zach, I don't know if I've appropriately communicated to you, because we haven't hung out since I started writing again, and we never talk on the phone. I am loving it. RK, we're not giving out the name yet. I am loving it so much.
I've seen every post on Facebook from you and Twitter and everything else.
Fucking awesome. It's going to be so cool. And the thing is that it's young adult, and that's not my thing. That is like I am all about the fucks, the shits, the boobs, the tits, the carving people up with knives and shooting them in the forehead with a gun.
And I just went through my book and took out all the stupids and dumbs.
But these characters, I can say that it focuses on 6 high school characters thrown into extraordinary circumstances. They are so much fun to write because, who doesn't remember their high school days and like have memories of certain people that it's just like, oh, dude, and then you start infusing the characters with these, and oh my God, I'm loving it so fucking much.
That's awesome. I'm excited to read the first draft. Dave, how we're doing it is I wrote the outline, I guess. Is that what it is, Garrett? Yeah, and gave it to him, and he was expecting something a lot weaker than what I gave him, because I gave him a pretty filled out outline, like I think you mentioned in the last podcast, of either you or Sean does that. And then he's building off of that, and I guess we're gonna go back and forth once or twice on that. But
yeah, we write a little bit differently each time. Like right now, currently, like each book's around 15,000 words. I'm writing about 9,000 words, and I'll leave spots for him to fill in. Then he'll go back in and edit everything, do his, and he'll send it back to me for a final edit before we send it to an editor.
Cool.
But I have a question on young adult. See, one of the things on young adult that I can't quite get my head around. When I was in high school, everybody cursed. So how do you write an authentic young adult book and not have them cursing?
It depends. Honestly, it depends on what you want to do with your young adult book. For me, I want to get, like, my ultimate goal is to get my book into schools. And I have to look at what are the school standards. I can't have them having real curse words. You can have shut up, and you can have stupid, and you can even have idiot. Like, those are fine, curse words.
Whoa,
they aren't really curse words to us, But the major ones, unless you're writing to a high school level, like seniors, and it's like real, like it's supposed to be like reality, I guess, and not something that's fantastical, then you can do it, but it's very rare that they're pulled into actual schools. If that was what you're doing, if you're just writing to put on Amazon, you can do whatever the hell you want.
It's more of a labeling thing where it's like you call something young adult not because it's about young adults who are acting the exact way that young adults would actually act. It's more like saying, hey, parents, teachers, there's no cursing, there's no tits, there's no sex, and there's not extreme levels of violence. So you can give this to kids who aren't 18 yet, and it will be fine. But I'm the same way. We used to cuss in our school all the time and do other stuff. And also, like, I would read stuff back then that was not young adult at all. So it's not like young adult fiction is the only stuff that you're allowed to read when you're a teenager, because my parents were like, yeah, no, you can handle it. So, read whatever you want.
Yeah.
Here's Faces of Death.
There's other genres that you can name it. You can name it new adult, which is considered to be for like the 20-year-olds that like to read where the words aren't very big, but they can get through it easily, but it's still something that's fun to read. Harry Potter would not be considered new adult, but something like Twilight could be considered new adult.
Right.
So new adult is for stupid people that don't want to be offended?
Yeah, basically. No, new adult is basically for those. How I actually read the description online, wherever I found it, I don't remember where it was. They were saying basically it's for the women that want to read those romance books that are written for teenagers, but have a little more to them.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. And I know a lot of Twilight readers are young adult women and even older adult women that want that simple kind of fun story that brings them back to a certain place.
And Garrett.
And Garrett.
And Garrett wants to remember his female youth. I'm not saying only women read it, but you know what I'm saying.
I wasn't going to mention anything, but then Garrett started smiling.
Well, I mean, you start talking about Twilight readers. Like,
I did watch all the movies except the last one, so I'm not going to knock it.
It's like when people start talking about bestiality around you, Zach.
Yeah, I know. I hate it. I hate when they talk about that. It's horrible.
Is this a common problem?
Yeah, people flock to me for some reason. Just start talking. Garrett talks about his bestiality all the time. I hate it.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Anyway.
Wow. I didn't see that in the show notes.
Yeah, right?
Something that sticks out to me is for people to check their chapters and just make sure that it flows correctly. You don't want to have a chapter in your book that kind of stands out, isn't needed, because it'll slow down the story pace. And that came in for me because I had an entire chapter dedicated to this part where, the kids go to this lake and there's just like this fencing and like whatever the fuck happens. And it was like 3,000 words. And I realized I didn't need it. I cut it out and they went somewhere else for 200 words and it flowed a lot better. So I would definitely suggest people check out their chapters as well.
Yeah, you don't want to take these like random breaks in the middle of something that have nothing to do with the story as it's existed up to that point, and it's just like the characters are sort of like wandering around and they were doing something but now they're not doing something, and it's just like, well, what the fuck? Because you'll just lose your audience. Absolutely.
Like Birdemic, where they have this chase scene and then they stop to have a picnic on the beach.
Right. It's like, well, what the fuck? I mean, this is just gonna be the Birdemic show and why it's terrible. And don't make a movie like Birdemic. Except you should.
Is that the scene where they run into the guy that's out of gas or with the gas can or something?
I think the gas can was before that.
Okay, because when
The Birdemic, the picnic scene, I think, was where the girl had to take a shit and she got killed.
Right. Where's Kelly? She's taking a shit.
Right. So basically, that's a great example of the director going, okay, well, I need to explain something. I'm going to throw in another scene, because that's how I did that chapter. I went, okay, I need to explain that Molly is a fencer, because that comes up later in the books. And I was like, okay, I'm going to throw in this scene, and I based an entire chapter around this one little datum that I wanted to get across, and then realized it's 2 sentences.
Right.
It doesn't need to have an entire chapter dedicated to it.
It kind of relates to my big hang up with what is bad in bad movies, and that's dialogue. Dialogue where people like give heavy exposition, like since you're a doctor that can cure cancer, just giving all this backstory that nobody would really use in real life when they're talking to one another. When we all talk to one another, we have shared experiences, and we don't need to give the backstory of each thing that we were all a part of, and that really comes off in amateur writing a lot, and bad B movies.
Right, exactly. Like I would never actually say, well, David, you've written Available Darkness, which is a series about a vampire, therefore you'd know what this vampire's powers are. It's like, David, you're the vampire expert. Go, handle. That's what I might actually say, and that will sound a lot better in your book or your movie or whatever.
Yeah, and give the audience a chance to kind of piece stuff together, and mystery helps keep your story alive. The minute the mystery's over, you kind of why bother reading for a lot of books.
Exactly.
Yeah. I read your email when you replied to that question of mine when you brought that up, and there was one particular instance that I recall in my book that Garrett and I were just going back and forth on. It was about this guy who scans like a microchip, right? And I explained how basically the machine. I thought
you were going to talk about the gun.
The gun? Oh, the gun? No, not the gun. The guy scans a microchip, and it's talking about how it's reading this microchip that's under his skin. And Garrett's like, you don't need to do that. Have him put his hand under it. It's going to chirp, and the doors are going to open. And I was like, and we were going back and forth on this.
Eventually, we have to explain the science behind it.
I wasn't going that deep into it, but Garrett, what gun are you talking about?
I'm talking about, okay, so in another scene of the book,
the only gun, actually.
Right. The bad guy is talking on the radio to somebody, and he is starting to go totally fucking crazy and whatever. And he's like, I'm going to kill him. And then he cocks the gun. And you read, he pulled out the gun, slid back the hammer and let it, and cocked it with a distinctive clicking sound. And then the person on the other end of the radio is like, Roger, calm down. Was that a gun? And I was just like... And that was a way bigger argument. Way bigger argument.
I completely agree, and I personally still am not 100% on your side on that.
Right.
We would still have to talk about that.
But I convinced him, and I was in the end, the way that I convinced him was just like, it is your book. You can do whatever you want to do with your book, but know this: if you leave that line in there, I will never, ever agree that this was the correct thing to do, and I will always have attention on it, and I will tell this story later.
Pretty sure you didn't say any of that, but...
I said in that gist, where it was just like...
I hate you, that was the gist. But, I understood. Basically, how it handled for me was Garrett was really against it, and him being my editor, I had a lot of attention on it, because I want my book to be... really well received, and if he has attention on it, I'm wondering how much attention other people are going to have on it. So basically, how I handled it was I took out the whole motion of him, cocking the gun and everything, and just placed it on the table.
Yeah, a lot of times people don't even need to cock a gun. You might.
Well, he did.
he was doing it specifically, like the way that I read
for
it.
Attention.
He was doing it specifically to make a point. It's like, I'm going to finish this guy right now, and then he did it like right in front of the mic so that the guy could hear it.
Then he's like cleaning the gun and
Right, but if he's doing that,
taking the clip out now.
right.
pop it back in.
But if he's doing that, then the other guy, like if you walk up to somebody and it's like, I got you a birthday present, and you pull a blanket off of a car, the person's not going to go, is that a car?
Right, but my point, Garrett, is that
Yes.
the guy wasn't there. The guy
Right.
wasn't there, and he's hearing it over the radio, and the person that he's talking to isn't supposed to have a gun. So that was my thing.
Okay.
Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's
We already had
move
this.
on.
We had this conversation.
Just like
We
an
already had
hour.
this conversation.
What this should be called? What's wrong with Zach's writing and Birdemic?
All right, you know what we should talk about? You know what we should talk about is the adaptation of The Last Airbender. That's what we should talk about.
I didn't see that. Is that an orgasm
Good,
or
do not
a
see that.
scream?
There was a scream. I muted my microphone so that you wouldn't have to go through it. Now what? Okay, no. Let me
that
tell my
movie-
story first.
That
okay?
movie.
Okay.
Are you all M. Night haters?
No. Well, I mean, as much as anybody who's seen his movies.
I have a story about
Okay.
that too.
I
But
like
hold on,
many
hold
of
on, let
his
me just-
movies, so
Sorry.
I like a lot of his movies.
I like a
He
lot
likes-
of his early movies.
Get out of our
but
podcast.
Like, I agree with most people in that.
Did you like The Happening, Dave? The Happening. Say no.
Spoiler alert. No.
I was
gonna-
torn on that. I wanted to like it a lot more than I did. So honestly, no.
Kind of like how I feel about The Hobbit.
I didn't see that.
Your story, Garrett. Go ahead.
I loved Signs though, and a lot of people did not.
Signs
like
was
it.
good.
I loved Signs. No, see,
I
that's the
loved
thing.
I loved The Village, and a lot of people thought that was shit.
I
thought that was a
it was
great
shit
movie.
the first time I saw it, and I liked it the second time, and every time after I saw it.
Lady
okay.
in the Water, I'm torn on. I liked it
Dude,
a lot.
I liked Lady in the Water. That's
I liked
the one
it when
that's
I
recent.
saw it. I liked
Yeah.
it when I saw it, but then I was like, Devil
Yeah.
was stupid.
Devil, I called the ending when I saw the trailer. The first time I saw the trailer, I called the ending.
Spoiler alert.
Who
Okay.
the bad person was.
Okay.
It was a devil.
Well, yeah, but
I wasn't going to say who it was.
Okay, good. So this
Last
trailer
Airbender.
comes out. This trailer comes out, and it looks like pretty cool
For
Little
Last
special
Airbender?
effect- Yes, little special effects heavy. The Last Airbender, and Zach was living in LA at the time, and he was like, "Dude, I'm taking you to see this movie." And I was like, "Dude, what?" He was
Date
like,
night.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Mandate. And he said it's based on this animated series, which is like the greatest thing ever. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. I'll
And I
check
don't
it out.
like
And he's
anime, just side note.
yeah, he's not an anime guy, and he's like, this is awesome because it wasn't really anime. It was like mostly done.
It's American anime.
Whatever. Yeah, American anime.
Yeah.
Which to me, anyway, whatever. So.
So
then
was
he
it like girls in schoolgirl outfits and big giant eyes?
No. It's all
Oh.
fantasy. It's just like it was in the movie, except for not terrible.
I didn't see the movie.
Oh gosh. Oh boy. So
But
anyway,
you
so we
can
go-
ruin it if you want.
We will.
we will.
No, M. Night ruined it.
Nobody should see that movie, so we should.
Yeah, but there's no
Public
spoiler on
service.
that one.
Okay, go continue.
Okay. So we go and we watch the movie and we're sitting there and like it's about to start and Zach's just like, oh man, and I'm like,
Was he
okay, cool.
masturbating?
Yeah. No, I was on my knees. So,
Talk about platonic.
yeah. So we start watching and I'm just like, I'm never gonna watch this series. This is terrible. My God. And then we finish and we walk out of the theater and
Then
we're
Zach
walking
finished.
out of the lobby. Yeah, and then Zach finished. And then Zach, he basically turns to me and he's like, that was not representative of the series. You gotta believe me. You gotta believe me. The series is so good. Like everybody.
I have taste.
Right. Everybody in the world who I knew, which means everybody in my high school, who had seen the series was like, no, dude, you gotta watch the series. And I was like, I'll watch the series. Stop trying to convince me. Like, they felt it besmirched one of their favorite series ever, that this movie even existed.
You raped my
Because
childhood.
Right. It was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles phenomenon where it's like, aliens, you've raped my child brain, my memories of my childhood.
So
like,
what
okay.
made it bad?
Okay,
Zach,
hold
you
on.
go ahead.
So what can we
okay.
learn from this movie?
Right.
Other
Okay,
than
here's what you can
hated
learn.
it?
First off, if you're basing your movie off of a cartoon that takes place in China, do not cast Americans in the roles because it's really fucking annoying.
Or Hindu guys. You know, it's
So
like
yeah, the guy from Slumdog Millionaire was
like him,
You know
great
what's- okay,
actor.
here's what's
What
crazy
the
about that.
hell? Yeah.
the guy that does the voice for that character in the cartoon is Asian. He's the guy that played Rufio in Hook. He would have made a kick-ass Prince Zuko or whatever his name is. He would have made a kick-ass dude.
Or whatever his name is.
No, I'm pretty sure it's
the
Prince.
big error of the movie is casting of white people.
Casting. No, and then the second one is M. Night Shyamalan.
That's racist.
That's
White
another
people
one.
ruin everything.
I know, white people do ruin everything. Look at this podcast. Anyway, no, it honestly, it took an entire season, and it condensed it down into 2 hours. And here's where it went, the turning point of the movie for me. I was sitting there with Garrett, and there's like the main guy escapes from this boat, and he jumps up on deck, and I lean over to Garrett and go, "This is the best fight scene in the first episode." And it was first episode of this first season, because there's a lot of fight scenes in the first season. Maybe it was the first season. I don't know. Anyway, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking, and the guy just turns around and jumps off the boat and flies away. And I went, "What?" And I was from then on. Oh my God! Whoever wants to talk to me about this, we should just we shouldn't waste any more of the podcast talking about this.
That's
It's
not how it happened.
It's like Twilight for me. I could go on and on about that movie and how bad it was. But if you want to watch The Last Airbender, don't. If you want to watch the cartoon, go do that, because it's a great series.
I want to watch. You know what we should do? We should do like a fan thing where because there's this new thing where you can do a hangout and you can watch a YouTube video together. We should figure out. We should, find Airbender on YouTube somewhere, because I'm sure it's out there somewhere, and we should watch it together with all of our fans. And everybody has their mics muted except for Zach.
I actually tried that with a friend of mine to watch a movie, and I forget what the problem was, but it does something where if you're trying to talk, it will mute the audio for other people. It didn't work nearly as well as I thought it should, and I don't know if you'll be able to pull that off for a podcast.
Balls.
Because we thought about doing that for Birdemic. Maybe they
really?
fixed the problem since then.
That'd be good.
It would be
Birdemic
fun
for you guys.
That'd be fantastic. You guys would have a lot.
I do have a M. Night Shyamalan story though for you, Dave. You know this new movie that's coming out with Will Smith and his son, and they crash land on Earth.
Yeah, I don't know much about it though.
Okay, well, basically how that movie was introduced to me was a friend of mine, David McCullough, was looking on IMDb about a year and a half ago, and he goes, "Okay, let's talk about this. Would you watch a movie about people that crash land on a planet?" And I was like, "I don't really do space stuff, so probably not." He goes, "Okay, what if they crash landed on Earth, and it's 1,000 years after they had gone away, and they have to figure out how to get off?" And I was like, "Maybe." And he goes, "Okay, what if it's Will Smith and his son?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, I would totally see that movie." He goes, "What if M. Night Shyamalan directed and wrote it?" I was like, "Fuck that shit, I'm not seeing that movie." He co-wrote and directed that movie.
No.
But if you watch the trailer, his credit is not on the trailer.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
They started taking his cocksucking name off of trailers, and it's fucked up because I don't know. Like I want to know. I want to know it's him so that I can not go opening night. And
there may be a reason they're doing this.
I think there's totally a reason. I mean,
Reason,
you see M. Night Shyamalan, you go, twist ending. When I saw the devil thing, we were watching the trailer, and everybody's like silent, and then it says M. Night Shyamalan, and someone in the back goes, "Twist ending!" Everybody like.
I would shoot that person, by the way.
Yeah, we know.
I wanted to give him a high five.
My audience that I saw that trailer with nobody said anything, But as soon as his name came up on screen, the entire theater burst out laughing. We're just like, ah!
Yeah.
See, that's wrong. He's a victim of his own success and expectations. I think the man is fully capable of making more great movies, and
So do I, but
think
he's doing
so
a bad
too.
job.
Yeah, as soon as he starts,
Unbreakable 2.
dude. When's it gonna happen?
It would be awesome, but they're getting too old.
Bruce
Yeah.
Willis
Sam
is in
Jackson
Die
and
Hard
Bruce
like
Willis.
9.
Right.
They don't get old.
Michael Nassif, a friend of Garrett and mine, he said the worst movie a movie that he thought sucked was A Good Day to Die Hard. And he didn't say why. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, me neither.
So
I mean, it's never gonna be the original Die Hards. Come on, those were amazing. We're not talking about amazing films, though.
Well, I have hope for M. Night, and I'm not going to shit on him.
I'm gonna shit on his bad movies. Like
yeah.
The Sixth Sense was an unbelievable film that changed what I thought you could do with twist endings. Unbreakable, I didn't even care about the twist ending. The hero origin story was awesome. It was like, oh, okay, so he's the bad guy. I don't even care because I just spent 2 hours loving watching the story of Bruce Willis's.
So he's got 4 great movies. That's more than a lot of people can say. I think he earns. I think on that alone, he earns the chance to fuck up and get a redemption. I don't think a whole theater
ready to get his redemption.
Yeah, well, there's other forces at work there. You can't just rest it all at his feet.
I mean,
here's the thing.
I hate him.
Just did.
Airbender.
No, there's that. There's Devil. There's The Happening. I am really hoping that this Will Smith movie that comes out is great. I really do, because I watched the trailer and it looks awesome. It looks really cool.
See, I see Will Smith and his kid in the same movie. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to watch that movie.
See, I think it's mostly on his kid, and I like the accents that they put on. It changes the character. To me, Will Smith always plays the same character. In this movie, it seems like he's playing a new one.
I hate seeing people with their kids acting. It just, I don't know, something about it bothers me. But whatever. I'm willing to drop that and see the movie, and if it's good, it's good. I'll change.
Right. See, I can get past things like that because I have the viewpoint that okay, I'm not ever going to be an actor. I'm probably going to be a director. That's what I'm going for. But if I was an actor, I would do something like that. Like if I wouldn't do it just cause. I wouldn't do it because of the.
Because they're your daughter.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck is that word?
Don't know.
Nepotism. I wouldn't do it just because of straight up nepotism. But if I was Will Smith and I thought that my son was a good actor, okay, maybe he's biased. What parent isn't biased about their own kid? But Karate Kid did really. Yeah.
I'm extra strict on mine.
Zach, come
you
on.
call that a drawing? That's not art. You fucker. Go back and try again.
Fuck. That is my Johnny rules. Johnny has animals and kids. I don't have kids, and I don't have animals, but I have parents to their own kids doing anything to I can't take that. I can't put that in a story. I just can't even deal with it. But
watch out for WhiteSpace then.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I have a thing with animals, and fucking
spoiler.
Yesterday Is Gone, the first season. That fucked me up.
What, the dog?
Yeah, dude. That's one of my favorite characters. I love that
dog?
dude. I love Dog Vader.
Vader.
He was so dope.
He comes back.
He was
Oh,
pretty
see, I
dope.
haven't. I only have.
By the way, spoiler alert. Fucking dick. Crystal, part 2.
I could spoil my own shit.
Yeah, no, but Zach spoiled it. I'm gonna.
No, I didn't. I said I like the dog.
Well, he
Right.
Said,
You
die
said
in the
yeah, but
context
I
of dying.
hate it when animals die. I mean, in
I
Yesterday's
said
Gone,
dog
Dog
stuff.
Vader.
I didn't say die. It doesn't matter. Continue.
Could have
What
been
were you
one of the
saying,
many
Garrett?
other dogs in the book.
Right, exactly. Any
It's
one
an
of
old
the
dog
many
cast.
dogs in the book.
Wasn't said. Never
It's
mind.
our animal farm.
I'll tell you the rest of the, so here's how it ends. It ends with no. Continue, Garrett. You hate people that do stuff for their kids, apparently.
Oh no! I was.
Yeah,
Gonna
I
say,
can't even go
if I was
shopping
Will
because of that.
Yeah. If I was Will Smith and I thought my son was an actual good actor, I would love to act with him. How fucking cool would that be, you know? Like, if let's just say, I don't think she is. I think my daughter wants to grow up to be a musician, but she's 3, so what the fuck do I know? But let's say she grew up and wanted to be an actress, and then, like, I wouldn't cast her in a feature film for her first role, even if I had that power.
Well, she'd have to earn it.
Right, she'd have to go through her dues.
Otherwise, people be waiting to shit on her.
Absolutely. But God, the idea of working with my daughter on a film for 3 months and having that shared life experience, that's so fucking cool. So that's my viewpoint. When I see Will Smith in a movie with his kid, I'm like, okay, come on, let him have a shot. If it's terrible,
I think his kid is a great actor too. I think he does really well. He was great in that other movie that Will Smith was in? Happiness one. Pursuit of Happiness. And I thought he was great in the Karate Kid remake. I thought that was
Why are you watching the Karate Kid remake?
Because it came out and I was like, dude, it's a Karate Kid remake. I have to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, Megan and I were super stoked.
No.
We're 80s babies. What are you, David?
I'm nothing.
60s?
1860s?
I was born in 70s, so.
Okay.
I'm 42.
So was my wife. My wife was 79. So you're not alone.
Yeah, I have all the. I saw all these movies when I was a kid. I just don't want to fucking revisit them because I now realize what shit they were, like Teen Wolf and stuff like that.
Yeah, but who wants to revisit Teen Wolf?
MTV apparently. Although I hear it's better than the show, but whatever.
I haven't seen it.
It wouldn't have to be.
Touching on movies that are bad but we love them.
Mm-hmm.
For me, is Street Fighter. His length and girth. That was Cristal.
Oh. You should play the clip where she spoils the end of Pie. Life of Pie.
I should play that clip. That would be awesome.
No, Street Fighter. You remember that movie? With Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh my god.
Dude, I watched that again about a year and a half ago. It was fucking awesome.
Are you a cutter too?
So bad.
In a nostalgic sort of sense?
Kind of, but in like the sort of sense of like, dude, I played this video game. I don't know. I don't even know what the hell it was.
Do you also watch wrestling?
I do not watch wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Not a fan.
Right. I'm just picturing Zach there cutting and watching Street Fighter and abusing his brain.
No, that's you. That's you cutting. But a nostalgic movie that both Garrett and I totally share is Ninja Turtles, the first one.
Oh, God. And it's not a good movie. It's not well made, but fuck.
Yeah, it's well made than the next two movies. The next two movies sucked, but we watched that within the last 3 years because I bought that pack and we just sat at my house and we watched it.
Right, and it was
number 2 and number 3 were horrible, but number 1 fucking held up. It held up so hard.
Completely. But again, it's hard to say whether that's because of nostalgia, Oh,
no, I can tell you, definitely nostalgia.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't see that as a particularly poorly made film, especially not considered in the time that it was made. It was like, no, it was good, but my own judgment could be impaired. Yeah. And that's one thing you got to watch out for when you're. Sorry?
I think it came out in 92, so.
Right. And that's one thing that you kind of got to watch out for when you are doing something is if you love it too much, it's very hard to be objective about it. That's what I've continually run into with Quest. A lot of people probably know what Quest is, but just in case, it's my big fantasy series that I'm always chipping away at. It's not something that I want to sit down and write 5,000 words a day and revise a couple of times and publish. It's I want that to be my big storytelling legacy.
Your Lord of the Rings or Dark Tower series?
I think it's ridiculous to compare me to either one of those two things. But yes, sure, whatever you want to say.
Because I'm so much better.
No, but it's just come on, yeah, how can you even mention yourself in the same sentence as those two? But Quest is my big thing. It's going to be awesome. But what I've continually run into, I tried to make the pilot episode of the TV show, and I've also tried writing the book. And I'm still going to do both of those things. The book is in progress. I work on it whenever I feel the urge and like I can't not work on it anymore. But it's really hard to be objective because I'm seeing something that isn't there. So that makes that obscures your vision of what actually is there, and it can make it so that you will miss flaws or something in your own storytelling. And you really, if you do have a good story idea, you owe it to yourself to make it as good as possible. So you've got to get outside influence. You've got to get opinions from people you can count on to give you a good opinion, you know, an objective opinion.
Yeah, definitely. And you want to make sure that they're giving you an objective opinion. I remember when my beta readers all read the book, and they all loved it, and they all gave me great feedback, but I wasn't 100% sure that they were being, like, you know, objective and actually giving me real feedback. Garrett was one of those.
All over it.
Garrett, well, no, you gave me great feedback. You liked it so much that you wanted to help, but you said it needed a heavy edit, which is totally fine. I understand that, but
Right.
The story is my main concern because that's to me is what my create is it's the story and how it flows and stuff. And that's what I really wanted to get back from it. And eventually I kind of, you know, finally accepted the feedback that I got from you guys. But I've always, you know, once I got some outside feedback from people I had no idea who they were, like those reviews that I mentioned, they said that they really liked the story idea and they really liked, you know, the character and all these things. And I go, okay, good. I'm on the right track to what I'm wanting.
Right.
Which book was this?
This is Danny Calloway.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it on my Kickstarter, so you'll be getting a copy of that.
Eventually.
Eventually. No, it goes to print. It should be going to print next week. So
That's awesome. What about the ebook?
well, it's all gonna be
motherfucker.
everything's gonna be released at the same time, except for the audiobook. Audiobook's gonna be released in a couple months.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Never mind. That's a separate conversation for another time.
Talking about me sending it to you.
Yes. Come on.
No,
What the
I know.
fuck?
I was. It will be coming to you soon.
Okay. It's
He
what
doesn't
you
want
said.
you to shit all over when there's nothing left he can do because it's already at the editors. And
I know.
Right,
I
exactly.
had to do a couple last minute tweaks here and there.
he took out all your sexual references, you bitch.
Exactly. And Garrett's choking on his own phlegm.
I actually, I was feeling dizzy and lightheaded when we started, and I was just like, how fucked up would it be if I just passed out on air?
Best show ever.
Right? Where it's just like, you guys are like, oh, God, that's fucking, you feel that bad, huh? Garrett?
I would just figure
I
would just figure it's another autoerotic asphyxiation thing. So. I saw the belt hanging behind you.
Yeah, exactly. Shit, I was going to say something right before the...
You are in a closet, right?
Yes, I am actually in a closet. This is my closet. Hello, everyone. If you're listening to the audio, I apologize, but that's my bathrobe. That's Megan's bathrobe. That's Megan's sexy bathrobe, and that's my sexy bathrobe.
All the audio people are like,
What
the
fuck is going on?
Awesome.
Anyway,
And what's behind you on the little shelf? That always like catches my eye. You ought to get rid of that. Put a giant Yesterday's Gone poster back there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, that's extra books. That's just I never have enough room for all my books, which is why I'm really glad that I finally started getting into Kindle, because it's not going to be a problem anymore. Like the only new paperbacks that I'm going to get are going to be my own books.
Dave, have you seen the movie The Room?
No, everybody's wanting us to review that for Better Off Undead.
You totally.
Oh, are they?
Here's the thing.
Have you seen it, Garrett?
Yes.
You have? Okay. Well, I just want a really quick point. See, I went online to try to find some, like, what other people think are the worst movies.
Right.
And Entertainment Weekly called that the Citizen Kane of bad movies. And
Right.
It was hilarious.
It's unbelievable how bad it is. It's
Really?
Oh my God! I'd
Is it
say
worse
it's
than Birdemic?
I think so because
Because they were trying. Well, I mean, I guess the other guy was trying.
Birdemic was trying too. What differentiates it from Birdemic to me is that there's not, like, Birdemic to some degree is sort of whimsical. It's sort of lighthearted and you know, like
Like, I mean, people die, but it's it's a romantic thriller, romantic horror,
trademark, romantic thriller trademark.
Exactly. The Room is like, it takes itself so seriously, and that makes it even worse, which makes it even better because there's no whimsy. It's like, this is a serious fucking movie, and this is gonna change your life. And if you're gonna go out with that fucking attitude, you gotta fucking have the balls to back it up. Like, you can't go out with that attitude and make a movie like The Room. It just, God.
Is this like a serial killer decided to make a movie?
No, it's like
Dave decided to make a movie.
It's like somebody who's slightly physically disabled, like his face is all messed up, decided to make a movie in which he would do everything: write, direct, produce. Excuse me, and have the starring role.
Is he physically disabled, the guy?
No, but he really comes across that way. Like, he really, really does. I don't know. You have to watch it. You have to see him. Like,
if he is, then I can't shit on the movie. Then I
no, but
like
he's
an asshole.
not. He's definitely not. I've seen interviews with him, and he's not at all. But I don't know. It's like
he looked a little crazy to me. I don't know.
He's super crazy. Super crazy.
like the kind of crazy that you might not want to talk bad about him because he'd show up in your closet.
Well, shit's on YouTube now.
Dave, you've read The Mist, right?
By Stephen King?
Yeah.
Yeah, a long time ago. I don't remember.
Did you like the book?
The book? Yeah, the movie, no.
Okay, you saw them. Yeah, another because I put up asking people for their suggestions, and I got one from a girl named Julia Shaw, and she said that The Mist movie was a horrible movie. It followed the book mostly until the end when it rapes you in the butt. That was what she wrote.
That was a pretty grim ending.
Direct quote, Julia Shaw.
Yeah, direct quote.
Not Z.C. Bolger.
Not Z.C. Bolger.
Yeah, does not endorse raping in the butt.
She goes on to explain why it's horrible, but I won't do that because people should go out and watch it, I guess, because it's a horrible movie.
Yeah, should go out and get raped in the butt. Yeah, read the story. I think that's true of a lot of Stephen King books, though.
That they should be. Never mind.
But the book, she said that the book is different. The book ending is different than the movie ending.
Mm-hmm.
And but the movie ending was just so fucking depressing, basically, that the person whoever made it should be hunted down and beaten until they're dead.
I made it.
Kind of like the opposite of The Life of Pi.
Kind of.
All right. Well, we're past the hour mark at this point, so it is a good time to wrap up. Anything else that you really need to impart to our listeners?
I hate you all.
I have my own sound clip of that now. Yes. Now we're really going to be like the self-publishing podcast. You should go to Amazon and get David's books, or on iBooks now, right? You got some stuff.
Oh, not yet. We got Yesterday's Gone season 1 up at Kobo. We haven't made the full round.
Full transition. No. Okay, but you should go to Amazon. You should get his books. Look for David W. Wright and Sean Platt, Platt, or just search Collective Inkwell, and it should turn up as well. They've been doing this for years. They're really fucking good. You better watch out because you will stay up late at night reading their shit. And you should also go and buy Hit Girls because you will enjoy it.
That was almost creepy the way you said that.
It's a creepy book in a lot of ways.
Now I got to stay up all night and read it.
All right, this has been the Storytelling Podcast. Big thanks to David Wright for showing up and filling in for Cristal. Check out our website, thestorytellingpodcast.com. Leave comments on the episodes there. We love to hear from you. Subscribe on iTunes if you are listening to this on the website. My blog is gbr0binson.com for the last time this week. Zach's blog is zcbolger.com, and you can find David at collectiveinkwellmedia.com.
No, collectiveinkwell.com.
collectiveinkwell.com. All right, everybody. Have a good night, and talk to you next week.